Hello there, everybody. This is Mr. D coming to you with another story. The story has been eating at my brains for the last couple of weeks, and I even thought about sharing it with my church. Last, I guess it was a month ago, I was going to share the story. I was thinking about it. But here I am today on a beautiful day, windy outside, up here in the mountain where I live. And this story is about a man. I'm not sure about how old it was when it started, but I'm sure that he wasn't old because a lot of things happened after this incident. And where he lived, um, another country came in and took over their country, made them into slaves. And from the stories that you read, he wasn't exactly a commoner. He was of very royal kind of like blood, upper. Well, when the other country took him and captured their land, some people were killed, and the ones that were up in royalty, they seem to have been taken as slaves to care for the new masters that they would have, even though that they were of royalty. It's kind of like us. I mean, we do things and we think we're special. And I don't think this person thought he's special. I think that this person was, it just happened, you know. And I think that God had a purpose in all of that at the time, which we find out later on. God had a really big purpose in this man's life. If it wouldn't have been for this man, a lot of things that we know as Christians, where we wouldn't know it. I mean, they wouldn't be there. Very important. Well, this individual, a bunch of friends and other people that were from his country, they were all Israelites. Let's get that out, okay? Because they're about Israelites, long, long time. And it was in a country called Israel. Hmm. Israel. The Bible has a lot of stories of Israel. So they were captured by another country or a city, or we always refer to them as an entity, like Egypt or Pakistan. It was Babylon. Babylon. Babylon, a country that when I was a kid, when the word Babylon was always said in school, they always referred to it as one of the seven wonders of the world. So it must have been a beautiful, unbelievable kingdom that Nebuchadnezzar had created. Or did he create? That was the question that later on comes up in some of Daniel and some of these boys' um, careers. And before we go any further, I almost slipped. Our young man's name is Daniel, of course. Well, Daniel and his friends ended up going to a country or place called Babylon. And Babylon, they were treated special, very special. In fact, you would think that the king would do anything for them, but they were still just slaves under the control of the king. And Daniel helped with a lot of things and prophecies, and his friends helped with things that were unbelievable. And all of this stuff seemed to go well for the Israelites, even though there was a lot of bad things happening. Well, later on, one of the kings, um, I don't think it was Nebuchadnezzar, but right now it slips my brain. As I'm doing this, what God's been telling me, a lot of these stories I'm going to start telling you is from my heart. I'm not going to stare at the Bible. It's our job as followers of Jesus to stay in tune of his word. And once we hear his word, we are to react upon it. Now, we don't always react the best way. I'm trying by reacting by explaining stories that may have pertinent bearings on our regular day life. But we need to stay in tune with God. Well, this man, Daniel, was praying like good Jews did, like we should pray every day to his God, our God. Well, some people, some other I don't even know what you call them, but they're kind of like sub-rulers like Daniel and all the other people. And they were there telling the king what he should and shouldn't do, kind of advisors, you know. And they convinced the king that everyone should bow to the king. Everybody, no exceptions. Well, that's where Daniel came in. Even though Daniel had done some good ones, the king got stuck in a hole. And I think that's the sad thing about life, is getting stuck in holes. The king was drawn in and made to feel so proud that he created a proclamation that made it impossible not to do what the king said to do, or you'd be killed. Very tight lace. I think that's what God wanted. I think God allowed that because God sometimes walks us into things that we have no idea what we're going to do, which is totally lost. And he takes that incident and brings the glory of God. Well, here we are. Daniel's informed that he did a no-no. He doesn't know why, but he did it. The case is the king can't back out and say, Daniel, my friend, I can't back out. I have to go forward. And the forward was if you didn't pray or bow, when this horn blew, that you would have been thrown into a den of lions, hungry lions. Probably they didn't feed them, but probably try to keep them hungry. So they'd eat whatever it's thrown in real fast. Less than clean up, you know. Well, he said, Daniel, because you didn't obey, we got to throw you in the lion's den. Daniel said, well, I'm sure like a normal human being like myself, he would kind of go, oh my goodness, I guess this is it. But you know what he has that I pray every day for, and that is belief in our God, that he's there all the time. Not when we just think we want him, but he's there all the time. And he was with Daniel. He was with Daniel when they took him up to the entrance of the lion's den. I could even see the ruler giving him a hug and saying, Daniel, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but I can't do anything. And Daniel said, it's okay. My God will take care of me. Well, you know, guess what? He got thrown in. And when he got thrown in, normally those lions would rip you apart. Like they kept us so hungry. But you know what? Lions didn't do nothing. And even from people who were looking in, they could swear that there was somebody else in there. You know what? God was there. God was in that room, that cave, and his angel with Daniel and the lions. And they were all there with God's grace, with God's love. The lions weren't going to do anything. They're God's creatures. And I think the animals out there that are ferocious and that we worry about, that are with God behind them, they wouldn't be. I don't think we would see poisonous snakes biting us, and I wouldn't see all this stuff going on because God would create a world that was peaceful for everybody to survive. He would do that because that would be his objective as a loving God. The problem is sometimes we don't let him be God. We try to be God. Well, Daniel did not try to do anything but be what God wanted him to be. And God and Daniel was an example to the world there that God was alive and not dead. So the ruler came back and said, Daniel, are you there? Daniel, are you there? And he said, I am here and I am okay. And the ruler said, come out and come out. Well, he came out and I'm sure there was a rejoicing. I mean, how many people usually get thrown into a big cave of lions, you know, they're gonna devour you and suck you all up. It's not something you prepare for. I mean, I don't go to school to know how to be in a cave with a bunch of lions. It's just something that happens like our life. Things that occur that we don't expect. Things that we have to have God in our heart to be prepared. We can't get prepared for some things that happen to us. All we can do is pray for the best. And most of the times I will tell you, if we were praying like the disciples used to pray, if we followed God like Paul did, we would see a lot more things that would be beautiful in this world than seeing them on television. We'd see them in real life. I don't know if we'll see that kind of stuff as the end comes closer to the end. I do know that we need to be devoted and pray like Daniel did, nonstop, with our heart in God's direction. I believe when instance like Daniel comes to us and comes into our life, that we can be blessed and protected by the power of God. And those holy angels that are there to help us, like they did with Daniel, how they helped Joshua, and they were there for Mary. All these times that angels were there, and the power of God and the grace of God were there. He had a purpose, like us. So we need to take this line, Dan. We need to look at it as our life. We need to see that God needs to be in the cave with our life all the time, with the peace and the love. And we don't have to worry about lions with God. And with God, you got everything you need. May God be with you. Don't forget to mark the subscribe button. And I look forward to another story. May God be with you, Mr. D.